Hello everyone. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you made it through the last video, welcome back. Continue watching us upgrade our liveaboard Formosa 51 and learning how to deliver better content to our viewers. Soon we can quit our day jobs and disconnect from the rat race. Today we're explaining how hydraulic steering works on a sailboat. Also, we'll be upgrading and installing our new helm pump, the Caulking 1275B. If your steering fails, you're probably going to have a bad day. So like any good boat project, step one is ripping the whole boat apart, making a huge mess, and then getting to what you need to be fixed, only to realize you buried the supplies and the tools that you need to fix it.
And just like boat work always goes, you get all the stuff moved out and we put it all here so it's out of the way, but then we remember that's where all the tools are we got to get to, so then we got to move it again, and then we'll move it over here, get the tools out, and then we'll move it back here, and then there'll be something over there. And I say we, I mean her. Where are we going, babe? Where are we going? That's where it used to be. That's where the old one was. And that's where the new one's gonna go. Okay, what we have here is the Seastar Capilano 1275 manual hydraulic pump, aka the helm pump. It's about a $1,500 pump. It's adjustable, lock to lock. It relies on no electric, so it always runs. It's pretty robust piece of gear. It's meant for commercial boats. The steering wheel will connect here, and you turn the wheel one way, forces hydraulic fluid that way, and moves the rudder. Pretty basic, pretty fail-proof. If you get one, your wheel might not fit. Like, so we have this problem where our wheel doesn't fit. So they do sell a spacer, so it has keyways. Match up that keyway, that'll go there, boom, bang, you're good. So we had to get that. So granted, this isn't the best template, but this is the adjustment knob, and it's not straight as a shaft, it's on an angle. Therefore you can't just drill a straight hole and a straight hole and put it over, which, you know, come on, help me out here. So the engineers behind the computers decided just to do it that way. So the average man building this thing is going to end up with a template, something like that, which you can see it's never going to seal. Oh, they sell the template, so you think, okay, the template's going to seal it up. Well, that's just as stupid too. So this thing is poorly designed in my opinion, but then again, I don't really understand how that's going to seal, other than just filling this all with caulk and just having a big shitty mess. But that's what we're going to do and hope for the best. Alright, so the old one came out, and of course the new one will never be the same footprint, so I cut an extra hole so it's extra large, and then I put this double plate on there. So I'm going to screw this to the helm and put the pump, so basically the pump's going to this. What's up? There's Danny boy, Captain Dan. We're getting an early start. Lion. So anytime I caulk, I put tape up, because, and then you just run your caulk in there and you can clean it right up. Without the tape, I just put way too much caulk, and it turns into be a big mess. So I'm caulking this up with life caulk, polysulfide. Always use polysulfide on the wood. And then if you use the tape, and then you do that, and then when you peel the tape off, it looks like a professional caulk job. Then once you peel the tape off, it looks like that. A little better than shit. Alright, so it's the next day. We had to skip a bunch of parts because of the mother effing screaming, cursing, and throwing stuff. So $700 later, and the next day later, had to get all new hoses, all new fittings. Didn't have to, but I just did anyway, just to make it right. But we're going to replace all the hoses. And this here is a crossover valve. And we're going to explain in a little bit what the crossover valve is. I'll let Tara do all the explaining. But we're going to install the crossover valve. That is the ram. That ram is connected to the rudder shaft. So you turn the wheel, it moves the ram, and turn which moves the rudder. And then down here we have the autopilot pump. And I put isolation valves on that. So if there's ever a problem, if anything is to fail, it's usually the hydraulic autopilot pump. So I got isolation valves on that, so we can just take it out of the loop and still be good to go. All right, well, I had to get new hoses and everything, and we got it all hooked up. So there's the crossover valve. So if I ever have a steering failure, what you do is you open that up, and it bypasses the plunger inside of the ram. So that's that. Obviously that pushes the tiller one way, the rudder goes the other way, and whichever way the rudder turns. So if the rudder turns to port, the boat turns to port. And I got the pump in there. I got all new hoses, and I got the helm hooked up. They run it through here. I gotta tidy this up still, but that's it. Now we gotta bleed the system and make sure we have the pump running the right way. So that's that.
This is a hydraulic ram like ours. Fluid pressure moves a piston back and forth. A small force at the pump becomes a much larger force at this big piston. Pressure on one side pushes the rod out, the other pulls it back. That is what physically turns the rudder. This is a generic diagram, kind of what we have minus the autopilot pump. The wheel is just pumping hydraulic fluid. Pressure goes down one hose or the other and pushes the ram either way. That movement rotates the tiller arm and turns the rudder, which turns the boat. Pretty simple. This helm lets me adjust the lock to lock with a knob. More turns mean slower, precise steering offshore. Fewer turns means faster, response in tight marinas. It ranges from about 6 to 7 turns down to 3.5 to 4. The crossover valve normally locks the rudder. Open it, and I can use an emergency tiller or add a wind vane. That adjustability and redundancy is the upgrade.
Well, that's the video. Thanks everybody for watching, and if you like it, please subscribe. It helps the channel grow.